Let's go here. There we go. And we'll get us kind of moving forward here. You all have so brilliantly illustrated the mission with your own personal stories, and that's kind of what ACS is all about, you know. And so today I just wanted to start us off with the mission. So our mission statement, like if you've never heard it, and this is kind of that anchor that we'll come back to time and time again, is save lives, celebrate lives, and lead for, I can't say it, lead for a fight to end cancer. With world without cancer. Okay, we all need to practice. Clearly, I need to practice. So we'll get there, and we're going to learn it all together because I'm new too. So we'll get it. And then today's agenda. We'll just wanted to do a little opening and intro, which we did. We'll meet ACS with Jenny Beamer's brilliant leadership. Tell us a little bit about like why we need to be proud to be part of ACS and what it is that makes ACS so amazing. And then we will shift into mission with Megan, talking about some of the programs we do nationally as well as locally. Then Susan's going to share with us some of the events, kind of broad strokes. And then I will sum us up with some board expectations. What does it mean to be a board member or a BLC member here at American Cancer, and like how are we going to accomplish all that we need to accomplish? And then Jenny, I teed up this video to launch you off, so I don't know if Jenny, you want to pull up your PowerPoint on the back, and then after I finish the video I'll toss it to you.
Sure.
So let me know, give me thumbs up if you can hear it. I think I did it right. So this will kick us off.
A long time ago, people got sick, and no one knew why. We were there. They said there were no answers. We found them. They said there was no hope. We found it. We were pioneers. Since then, our world has changed. We slowed down, and our voice grew quiet. Cancer did not. People still need us, and today we choose to stand together. We are stronger because of those who came before us, and now we will forge a new path. Together, we will no longer remain quiet in the shadows. We will change. We will innovate. Together, we will save lives. We will celebrate lives. We will lead the fight for a world without cancer. Together, we are the American Cancer Society.
All right, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to totally cry, guys, because this is like so like a dream that we had to set off and do this and to bring like you guys forward as leaders in our community. And I guess for me, it just feels super personal in my own cancer journey. And hopefully someday we can, you know, make it better so my daughter doesn't have to go through the treatment that I went through. So, yeah. So every time I ask people to engage or give, I get close sometimes and I feel like silly about it, but it's true. So
I'm 100% right there with you, Ginger.
Oh, that video got me, man. That's good.
Yeah, and I not be just more genuine. In fact, when I say I'm right there with you, watch that video. You know, I know that was created last year at a time, and we're still there, right? Where we are still up to speed, but not quite there. And so it's very real, and the realness of all of you sharing your why. I know I mentioned I started with this organization as a volunteer, and it kind of, you know, I'm a firm believer every experience and leads into another one for one reason or another. The reason it's meant to be. And I volunteered Relay for Life through Michigan State when I was there. During that time, my aunt was diagnosed with cancer, and I was very, very, very close with. And when she passed just a year later, I was in my senior year, and that's what when I was walking out of my professor's class, I had to tell professor that I really needed to miss because my aunt had passed away. When I walked out of her class or out of her office, there was a board right across the hall, a flyer hanging that was from the American Cancer Society, and it said, "Need interns." I couldn't, like, it was literally that moment where you look and you, real,
Yeah.
I pulled the tag and already, volunteered, been a team captain through Relay for Life, but didn't more. And there we are, and here. So fight for very personal reasons, well, continue to as we go through the years. So I know you, and I know talk about. We know so many people will be diagnosed with cancer and die from. So we're celebrating so many more survivors. So these words, the goal of this, Ginger said, is to. I may be sharing things new. I may be just underlining and build your confidence around the American Society. And that's really what this is about, because then hopefully you'll be able to have my absolute confidence in the organization. And that's what I want you to continue to have. And it is right when things come in and you question it and you wonder, that's what we're all here on this together for, to just have conversation and really get to where we want to be. So we are right? We are a leader in this organization. And when I say we, looking about the American Cancer Society, that's us. That's you. That's you, Annette. That's Laura. That's you, Marianne. You, Jen. That's all of us together. Are part of this organization, because it doesn't work without volunteers. So it's not to, well, I guess I can't promise it's yours, but it's not to bore you with anything. But so these slides, and I won't go through them all, but you'll get this. I think, or maybe you can send this over and you have pieces of this, and maybe you've seen it before. This looks big, but we certainly, as an organization, headed through 2 volunteers, all of us together, have so much that work with and that we hold ourselves into. And so I said, we mission, right? To save, celebrate lives, and lead the fight for a world without cancer. Certainly our vision is that world without cancer. And us, as leadership volunteers have, those principles that guide our actions. And not just words. I think, right, Susan and Ginger and Megan and Tess, these values, and then we look at our cultural beliefs, how we do work, are intertwined throughout everything that we do. And, what we measure ourselves against, because it's not just the measurable things that we know that we can impact. You can impact the communities and our organization. It's these that are sometimes not measured by numbers, that are certain. So I won't read through that, but want you to know that there's so much that we do, that we as an organization ourselves accountable to. And then this slide. So I remember when I really first started learning about the American Cancer Society, and so as we went through the years, we continue to have to revise our target. But what I love and what I feel really confident about is knowing, you might already know this, or you might continue to learn, like, man, this organization is really complex. There's a lot to it, right? Cancer is complex. We know that. So we have to, when we say that tagline, attack from every angle. There couldn't be any truth to that. There's so much we do. However, we know that we can continue to do better by streamlining and really focusing on some specific things to get where we need to go. But the ultimate goal, everything we do, the ultimate goal is to get us reduce mortality by 40% year 2035. And so as staff and volunteers continue to think about and ourselves, all right, when we are deciding what we're doing, when we're really looking at what we're focused on, does it get us closer to where we need to be? And I know when I commit myself, right, I'm committed to organization in so many ways, as you are. You know that everything you do and everything you do as an organization is being made with the decision. Is it going to help us, like pointing at my screen, you can't even see, right? Is it going to help us reach that target? And that gives me great confidence, because that is the result that we are all striving for. And there's nothing else. We have to make decisions, as every organization and every business does. Does it get us closer to that result? And that result that we want, and that makes us, me, hopefully you, really proud. So, three, if you could put them into three buckets, right? Prevent, early detection. And the bullet points that you see, that they're not exclusive. There's lots more to these, but these are some of the things to pull out. So tobacco control, so much being done around that, and we're really global efforts and partnerships around that. Screenings and vaccination. I guess one thing that I'll pull out that was a very big effort is our effort to vaccinate for HPV, the HPV cancer vaccine. And that's such, I guess for me personally, right? I meant my aunt passing away from cancer, which is what propelled me in this organization. And she passed away from cervical cancer. Cervical cancers are caused by HPV, which eliminated through getting this vaccine. I have daughters and a son. My two daughters are already of age to get this vaccine, and they certainly have, and they know it's a cancer vaccine, and they know a vaccine that likely will completely eliminate their chance of getting the type of cancer that they know that my aunt passed from, who they never met. So this is the progress that we're making. This is it. We are continuing to do this, and we can make great strides with that. So that falls into those buckets. We know equitable quality cancer care. Now, if we're going to reduce cancer disparities, we've got to listen to those that are cancer survivors, those that have been carers. We need to get everyone into our fold to make this impact real. So much that goes into the diagnosis, treatment, and survival. I know Megan will touch on some of our programs, as we mentioned, so I will dive into those, but they're exciting. And if you haven't visited our website lately, it is getting revamped. That's good news. It always needs to be. Yes, we're always changing and needing to revamp, but it's heavy, it's big, cancer.org. But one thing that I'm not a survivor myself, but the fact that you can just get on there and chat. You can Cancer Survivors Network and chat with other survivors. Just so many different tools and resources online. And I know not everybody's online, but they're fabulous there. And then certainly the bucket, that innovation to improve patient outcomes. We know this is a big one. Research. I know Megan will touch on, I think, a little bit of the research happening, or just those numbers in Michigan. But gosh, you guys, we are funding $389 million worth of research right now, right? You know that we are the largest funder of cancer research next to the federal government. That is a huge pride point. One thing that I believe was launched last year, particularly 2019, Megan, maybe you know, but one that I thought really cool. I remember a conversation a few years back, and it's around researchers, funded researchers, cancer researchers, and whether or not they have the ability, and they really interact a lot and share the different things that are happening, what's new, what's happening, so that we collaborate more. Well, then I learned, literally, American Cancer Study, someone in the research department said, you're excited to hear that we are actually launching Theory Lab, which is a podcast that is really focused. It's available to the broad audience. You could look up on your podcast called Theory Lab, but it was created that funded researchers, former and current, the American Cancer Society can interact and join each other, put on podcasts for others to listen to, and really collaborate and be that joining podcast. It's really cool, and I found it pretty fun but also, I mean, I am a researcher, but I will continue to researchers all day long, but I get pretty geeked out just like listening to the amazing things that are happening. So that's something really cool that I think is very cool. That's very new. And then Edge, just can touch on what, because you might look at that and what's that? So that's actually when we talk about innovation, right? Trying really hard. We all have, but we're certainly trying hard to continue to be innovative. So Bright Edge, really, it's our donor-funded philanthropic venture capital fund. So we invest in for-profit companies that are developing now solutions to attack cancer. So that's really new for us. We actually just learned this, just appointed a new director for Bridge. She just began it in January. Now I forget her name. I need to look at what was her, Alice Pomnio. But just not bringing that up, as I was impressed that She's also actually a faculty at MIT, Sloan Health Ventures. And so she teaches biomedical innovation. And she continues to have that role, but she is working with our Bright Edge innovation area. So that's something fun, and certainly partnerships and collaborations. This is where we all work together out in the community to continue to create these partners, collaborations with nonprofits, for-profits, everyone, an ultimate goal, get to that end target. So lots that make up, like I said, complex way in which we can attack cancer, but the mission, the goal is simple. The way we get there can be big and okay. And here where I do have slides that are good, them promise, but excitement around just kind of our historic notable milestones. Did you know that we were founded in 1913? We are 108 years old. That is noble and exciting and makes me really proud. Been around 108 years and do some impressive things together and with fight. So to continue to be the leader and accelerating this fight in the 108 years is really, really cool. What's kind of exciting, so while we were founded in 1913, our research program began in 1946 through Mary Lasker, raising $4 million, using $1 million to really establish our research program, which as you know, is a very big deal. And then I add this in here because I thought it was interesting and exciting. So 10 years later, after our research program is founded, was the first complete cure of a human solid tumor by chemotherapy by an ACS CAR-T. And there we have the beginning of so much more. So much that has happened then. We know that mammography, we funded and really invested in the fact that mammography was the best tool for early detection of breast cancer, and our really pinnacle role in the movement Stop Smoking that we've continued to carry on, and our cancer prevention study. So while we really fund research, we do also do research. Any of you, Mary, has any of you been part of cancer prevention study?
I have.
Yeah, awesome. Me too. And so this is where nationwide, we have 3 cancer prevention studies to invite and ask people to participate and literally, follow. I just got an email actually 2 days ago. I don't know if you got one, Marianne, to answer more questions for cancer prevention study. Couple quick things that I'll just mention here. So 1997 is when we launched our national call center. And so I personally talked to many people who have told me great stories. I've also talked to people who've told me some not great stories, and we've got good feedback. But that it's 2:00 in the morning and you or your loved one have diagnosed with cancer, and you need to talk to someone because you can't sleep. I'm saying this from someone literally shares with me that they called and the American Cancer is there. And I remember very well, it was about 5 years back, someone in Saginaw shared with me, she said, I had my mom, I had my daughter, and I had the American Cancer Society. And I'm like, to me that. So sometimes that's what you're just talking to someone any time of the day is that you didn't even know needed. So we have so many people using call center. We also have a chat, so it doesn't have to just be on the phone. You can online chat as well. I'm such a hands person. And then in 2001, the reason I was on here is because you guys, I'm a story person. And so this must have been, because Gleevec was a new drug that was found and created through an American Cancer grantee, Brian Drucker, to treat a form of leukemia. That was found in 2001. I know it was in 2004. I was new, 2 years in with the American Cancer Society at a Relay for Life kickoff in Williamston, Vermont. And a young survivor who came up and spoke, and I was talking to her afterward. She shared with me, and when she shared in front of me, and I didn't know this, she said, I took the drug and it saved my life. And my heart stopped because I was like, that was us. We found that drug. So talking to her after, that was one of the closest first times that I had talked to someone that I could put a real story with, that I know when someone says, well, but do donations, do what we do, help people right here in my community. I want something that's local. This is local, right? It doesn't matter where Brian was doing his research. He found Gleevec and it helped save her life. So that all those stories happen every day. You find great pride in the fact that this is real people that we're together to help. So, and then our ACS Can, our nonprofit advocacy affiliate, was in 2001 and doing some awesome things. As Marianne, you are an absolute ACS leader as well. In 2003, we know our Hotel Partners program launched, which is exciting. That is something, while we know Hope Lodge isn't everywhere and can't be everywhere, that's okay. We do have a Partners program. We're going to help make sure people places to stay wherever they need to for treatment. Right, and the reason I just bring this because I want you to see, right, in 2012 and in 2016, we had those notable decline in cancer, in cancer death rates. And then take it to 2020, I don't know if you guys remember the news last year, the 29% decline in death rates, translating to 2.9 million saved. And I clapping, I can see you, Ginger. I know everybody's, but that's a very, actually walking into an office in Flint that day that they came out, and I hadn't seen it yet, honestly. Someone in that office I had never met came over to me and he said, "Congratulations, I know you work with the American Cancer Society, and I was watching this morning of those cancer death rates." And I was like, oh, and then I looked, how cool is that? He even know me. So pride all the way around, because that's the work we're doing together. And then lastly, this is my last bullet point, as on the research front, we have funded 49 investigators who went on to win the Nobel Prize, right? The highest accolade that any scientist can receive. And so you could take that note, right? Take that and remind yourself of it, because it's a tribute to our research program and the strength of our PU process, which is the process, volunteers and physicians, everyone that's on the panel really of reviewing the grants that come in to the American Cancer Society, and the researchers that say, hey, I want to be funded. And so how do we make those choices? We have a really strong peer review committee to make those, and I'd say they're doing a good job. All right, now I know this maybe isn't exciting, and I take a little funny transition here, but all of that, I hope you're finding great confidence, and just thank you for being on board. This is really, we know we are an awesome state of Michigan, and we are part of what's made up of the North Central region. So you may hear Jen Susan use that term. And so I just wanted to show literally what that looks like and means. We have 6 great regions with American Cancer Society, and so you can see what that North Central is. Inviting the way across the country. And just to put some names with me, we did some introductions, but are really Wayne White, the North Central region. Right now, we are looking to get our new Vice President of Cancer Control in place. And you may have heard or will hear the name Sarah Wells. So our leader for the state of Michigan, our Senior Executive Director. Sarah is amazing, but she has about 2 other jobs that she's doing in the region, looking to fill that role right now. And then we do have an awesome team of what I know. While you look through this, I'm like, gosh, we do have men that work at the American Cancer Society, and some wonderful men. I know there's only 1 or 2 listed here, but just the entirety of our team, but darn near close. So Carrie Cross, who's the Senior Director working with Relations, and Ginger working with on our corporate relations lead. We have myself and Zin working really in that development and event and campaign space primarily. And Megan really working with that in that cancer control partnerships with our hospitals, who I know is not on this call, but lead away with our ACS Can work as the Government Relations Director. And so I will stop my long-winded talk and take it from there to pass it. I don't know if you want me to pass to Megan, Ginger.
Let's see if anybody has any questions. You can buff mute. Any questions for Jenny, Strucker, all of our history, all of our rich history was exciting to me. And I loved all chats, everybody like win and
I'll go back to the chat. Okay.
thank you guys for that. Again, you can take over the screen. If anyone needs a second to go refill the water, refill the coffee, go ahead. We're pulling this up. And we'll have like a little bio break after Megan's. And so we used to call them bio breaks. So we'll do that after. But Megan's tell us all the exciting, like how we actually accomplished that 40% reduction goal. And it's going to take some work. It's going to take a lot of work. And Megan's team, the team around Cancer Control, are primarily charged with programmatic pieces of it, the partners with the hospitals, and she's going to down and let us know the stuff we could be proud of here in Michigan, especially, and and I'll later get into how we can weigh in and make a difference. So thank you, Jenny, for joining us. I know you're on vacation, so I don't want to keep you. Do you want to stay with us a little bit? And then we will keep going.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, Jenny did a fabulous job. It's really hard to follow her. She's so engaging. I will do my best. I wanted to give just kind of sure, like all of us on this call touched by cancer. We know how awful cancer is, but it's really about cancer right now. The world that we're living in, COVID-19, their jobs, lost their health insurance. People have delayed their appointments, delayed surgeries. There's a disproportionate with minorities in getting the care that they need. And then people in the poor areas have about 20% cancer death rates than those in affluent. So we have a lot of work to do, basically, is what this slide is telling you. COVID-19 really put in on already. So one of the big initiatives that ACS is working on right now is getting a huge drop in people get their screenings during COVID. Offices were closed. People don't feel comfortable going. There's a whole number of reasons. But it's estimated that 22 million cancer screenings were missed, and that's between March and June of 2020. That's like the whole shape of it. So therefore, people are being diagnosed in later stage because when you're screening, so we really have a lot of work to get people back to screening. ACE developed a really great toolkit for our systems partners to use on messaging. They tested this thing and really tested what messages stick well with people. Is it more of those kind of tactics, or is it data-based? And maybe we can dive to, on a future call, but that is one of our big initiatives right now. Jenny already really did a great job explaining why we fight. 1 in 3 people diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime. That is still a huge 1.9 million cases in 2021. So we have a long way to go to our goal of eliminating cancer. But as Jenny mentioned, really, there's good stuff happening, and there's a reason we have a 31% in U.S. cancer mortality rate since 1991, saved more than 3.2 million lives, which is really amazing and something that we should all be doing ourselves for the work that we're doing. And one thing that I really point out is the fundraising dollars help do this work, and they help me be able to do the job that I do. I'm going to get into in a little bit with cancer screening and prevention and all the programs that I do. So these are the different ways that we fight. Research about a little bit. I am going to share what we're doing in Michigan. Public and provider education, advocacy, screen is covering, and patients, of course, which you all know about. I will say, I've been ACS 7 years. I've seen a huge change. I'm going to give you an example. So I go to the hospital's cancer committees. All the hospitals have a committee of oncologists, surgeons, radiologists that meet. It depends on the hospital, about every quarter, and kind of go over what's happening in the cancer world. It used to be when I first started that I was reporting like, oh, Henry Ford ordered materials this week and we gave this many rides. And now it's, oh, we gave Henry Ford a $50,000 grant to work on prostate cancer charities. So the work that we've done in the last 7 years has changed drastically. We really focus on patient services, materials, and now it's more, how can we actually prevent cancer and do screening initiatives too, which I think is exciting. So research, I'm not going to go into too much because Jenny did a really great topic on this. The only thing I want to know is that while we do have 49 Peace Prize winners, none of them have been a woman yet. So that is something I like to point out because one day we will get there. And I don't know if Susan and I have gone over our Research Hers program with all of you yet. My goal is that we do get a woman Nobel Prize. So this is the research actually happening right now, like as we sit here in Michigan. There are 21 grants, $12.9 million, which is a huge amount. And it's just always so amazing to me to look at the line and think there is like real life-changing science happening right in our backyard. So I'm not going to list every name. You can just go where are right now. We also do a lot of provider education. Of course, we have our website for the community, our phone number, but a big thing that my team is doing is actually working with providers. So HPV vaccination that Jenny was mentioning, I'm going into family medicine doctors, primary care doctors, and talking to them about how can we increase the rates within your clinic. And it's really exciting because they need someone like us. They're so they are so busy that they don't really have time to look at the rates and think, I wonder what the barriers are and how we could increase them. So having subject matter experts at ACS gives them a person that we can say, well, your rate's really low. Like, here's something we could try. Here's something my colleague in Texas did that worked really well for them. It's one of the really cool things in national organization is we can share what other people are doing across the country. I just was working on increasing their colorectal cancer rates. They had a couple clinics where the rates were really low and couldn't quite figure out why. Turns out the patients were primarily Arabic speaking, and the letters that were being sent home were not in Arabic. So they were getting these reminder letters to schedule their endoscopy, and they couldn't read them. So a quick thing we did was translate those letters, and guess what? Their rates increased by like double. So it's looking at that and making those changes. So our advocacy is a really important of what we do. We have some federal priorities. We have Michigan priorities, and I know a couple involved in ACS CAN, so you probably know all about this. But the biggest thing we're working on right now is oral chemo. I say right now, and I mean the last 15 years working on this. It has been 15 years in the making to try to get oral chemo to be a fair price compared to IV chemo. Oral chemo can be $20,000 a month, $30,000 a month. And what makes oral chemo why we want it is it's targeted therapy for patients. So my dad had cancer, he had passed away. He is my Y, and his drug was $12,000 a month, but it was only option for him. Like IV chemo was this medication that had been researched and developed out was the only one that was going to target his specific tumor. So it was either that or nothing, basically. And the doctor and us worked pharmaceutical company to get a grant to be able to pay for it. We got lucky. What we want is for every patient to afford this medication. They shouldn't have to worry about if they can afford it. The doctor said if he had not had that, he probably lived a year. He lived 5 because he had that. So right now where it stands is it has passed through the House. It now go to, it's like, great, when are we going to the Senate? Not soon. Things in legislation. And uppers are amazing. ACS staff was like hopeful. Mine, I was like, great, before this will be passed. That's not going to happen. But we would want our volunteers to just talk about the importance of oral chemo to get them to say, when this does come for a vote, we need you to support. I go off on a tangent on that because I'm passionate, so I apologize. And then what a lot of people know about what we do is our services. Because of COVID, we had to put Road to Recovery on in 2020. So we don't really have up-to-date numbers on, here's what we did last year. We have some total numbers. We are hoping to bring transportation back so we can. We just not put our volunteers, cancer patients at risk for driving each other in car with COVID. I have done transportation groups, which is, I think, a new way to look at it. And so basically what happened is we had some donors that said, we want to specifically fund transportation. So we had like a pot of funds that then the hospitals could apply for, and they could use that funding to help pay for gas cards, Lyft rides, taxis. And that really, with Carmanos in Detroit, and that really helped eliminate some of the challenges that they were having around transportation. So that's something looking at. We of course have lodging. We have Reach to Recovery to connect breast cancer survivors to those newly diagnosed, and they can kind of do a peer mentoring program that is done through now, which is the new tech savvy to go, I think. And then we do deliver low-cost screenings. We get a lot of grants that help us this work, so we can work with our qualified health centers to make sure that people get trained. This is really what we're aiming for. We want where barriers, healthy lifestyles, and cancer prevention are removed. Genetic and lifestyle causes of all cancers are known and addressed before they become an issue. We want patient caregivers to have an affordable place to stay during treatment. I saw Annette in the chat, she went to MD Anderson. We have a lot of Michigan that travel to Anderson or other hospitals, and thank goodness we have our hotel partner or Hope Lodge in those areas to help people stay while they're there. And at 2 a.m. when you're not sure what to do, you can call our number. I want to touch on equity because I don't know how Ginger and have talked about this, but this is something that ACS has always done. If you look at the history Jenny had kind of gone through, health has always been key point of what we're doing, but we want to talk about it more and we want to let people know what we are doing. And quite frankly, we need more funding to be able to get it done. So we want to make sure that people can afford cancer care. We want to make sure that they can afford their screenings, and that we want to make sure that everybody has a full shot. So I wanted to, they're on the slide, but I want to just like 2 or 3 examples of some health equity projects that we are actually doing now. The east side of the state is primarily where I work. We do have some on the west side that I'm not as familiar with. I'll tell you one, we're working with Henry Ford Health System on a health equity project where we're trying to increase breast cancer screening rate in Detroit, particularly Southwest Detroit. We pulled some rates. The rate of Hispanic women screened was only 3%, which is very low. And so we're really targeting, how can we get women in Southwest Detroit to come in and get screened for their for breast cancer? So we're working with their faith-based nurses to put surveys to their parishes, talk to their church members about the importance of getting screened, and then really not just talking to them about how it's important, but navigating them through the process. We're looking at holding spots in the radiology department for members of certain churches so that they can all come together, get screened, and we're actually doing what we say we want to do. Another project we're working on is with Corktown Health, which is a fully qualified health center in Detroit that primarily sees the LGBTQ community. And we have developed a toolkit that we can help train other physicians on, how to screen people in the LGBT community for cancer, how to talk about it. There's different risks associated with community, but also just some sensitivity issues that need addressed. So we're working on that. And then what's a really exciting project,
Megan,
I can start soon.
Can I butt in for a second?
Yes.
Susan and I actually got our Grand Rapids Pride, their president who just got named Jazz, and their health person to like consult on the toolkit creation. So the work that's LGBTQ community, actually they're sending copies of it over here to GR Pride, and they are consulting on the language. And then I'm hoping to ultimately drive some sort of programmatic piece that we can make happen in the west side. So we're bridge those pieces. So
that's awesome. Yeah. And then one that I'm really excited about is in Flint. It hasn't been able to yet because again, COVID ruined a lot of things, but we want to provide colorectal screening kits to individuals in Flint when they're up to get their water. We still are doing that. There's a really large church that provides water to Flint residents. And so while getting their water, we want to provide eligible patients with an at-home colorectal screening kit. So they wouldn't have to come in for colonoscopy. They would if the result's positive, but this kind of a first screening, get people screened who might otherwise be screened. So some really exciting projects. And again, all of those projects take funding, and that's why the money that we raised is so important, because we cannot do that without the funding. ACN also works on health equity. What I think is interesting that some people may not realize is some of the stimulus packages include ACS CAN bills. So we try to kind of slide in there some things that we see, like affordable insurance coverage, ensuring access to care, the overall financial impact, and put it into the stimulus packages. So I think that actually my end of mine, but I will stop and just happy to answer questions.
It's terrific, Megan. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's so fun to see like on the ground work and like how that is helping our community members.
And it's awesome to be a part of it. I mean, ACS CAN and the work we do is so real. Ginger had mentioned the opportunity to write her senator, pre-COVID. You have to go to the Capitol and really sit in the office with the lawmakers for your area and make them tell you yes, no, they're going to support this bill. And it's very empowering. So we're really proud of the work that our cancer control team does and our ACS CAN team does. Makes a difference. It really matters.
We will have a virtual, so we used to have a day where we all went to Capitol as lobby day, then it's the day at the Capitol. We'll have a virtual option here. So you can still talk to your legislator on a Zoom call about the issues. You heard oral chemo will be talking, like there's nothing else that we will be talking about. So that is what our focus is on. And what's kind of nice about the virtual is you'll get a packet of training materials sent to you. So you will know what to say and you will not be alone. You'll have people that have the same representative as you on your call. So if you're interested in that, I'll put the link to the how to register in the chat.
I signed up.
It's a really amazing experience. Do it in person. I haven't done it virtually yet, but in person, it's really able to say like, okay, I made my voice today.
There is a deadline, right? There is a deadline to sign up, right?
So I will go look at it right now.
Oh,
Okay.
I'll put in my follow materials to share the link for lobby.
I've done this for years
There you go.
and I have to tell you, it makes a difference. I asked them, what makes a difference? What can we do to get your attention? And they said exactly what you're doing right here. You're coming, talking to us. We know that you're representing a lot of people. So I would encourage people, you want to be part of that. It's incredible opportunity. And just real people want to hear from us. So it does make a difference. I need people to participate.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks, Megan, for the link.
Yeah, Megan's exactly right. There was a lawmaker not too long ago who wanted to make an amendment to I don't know if it's called the Clean Air Act. Maybe I'm something wrong, but he wanted to allow smoking in restaurants on patios and outdoor seating. And we really felt strongly that if that amendment was made, it opened the door for other amendments made and could potentially allow smoking back in restaurants. And our ACS CAN community just blasted this guy's inbox with emails, and it never even made it to the floor. Like, he dropped it before it was in. So we do matter. And if you think, send an email. Are they even seeing it? They're seeing it. And it's he threw an owl and waved his white flag before he even got out there, because we said, no, you can't do that. So.
That's kind of hilarious.
Oh my gosh, and that's so cool. You put a little celebration. Oh, look at that. Oh, I see. Down here in reactions.
Oh, yeah. Any other questions on Michigan work that are happening in Michigan, beyond Michigan? I had one, Megan. I'm wondering, do you happen to know, you said $12 million like invested back in Michigan through research grants. How much do we raise as a state of Michigan? Do we know?
I do not know that.
I'll have to look it up. I always like, because then you get a percentage and you say, like, raised, our goal is like 5 million, but we're bringing more money back into Michigan, investing in Michigan, than we actually pull out of Michigan. So sometimes that's an interesting piece to talk about. So I'll look up that number. I think it's kind of interesting. So
I don't know if it's a question or more of a thought.
Yeah.
And you guys might be like, yeah, we're getting there. But, you talked a lot about, you mentioned Eric, you mentioned the GQ, right?
Yeah.
So, a lot coming at us as a society, right? This whole diversity and inclusion. And obviously on this call here, we're very well represented from a women's perspective.
Yeah.
As American Cancer Society in general are they looking at making sure a lot of members are diversified so that we have that reach out to communities that feel comfortable, not just, feel part of that or don't feel included. The inclusivity or the diversification, I think, is something we're expecting as all Americans to make sure we do a better job.
Yes, that is something we're focusing on. And just to kind of bring it back to the Henry Ford Breast Health Equity Project, the reason we're using the faith-based nurses because they're ingrained in this community. They have in African American, Arabic, Hispanic speaking. I went in and here's what you need to get screened. It wouldn't make as much of an impact. But if someone in their own community came in and had a conversation about it, that's what we're really looking for. So yes, we want all voices around the table to kind of help us get to our goals.
Excellent. Thank you.
And I would say, Nat, that is one of the challenges that we face now. We have 5 seats left. Like, conceptually, we have 5 left on our build out for this CLC. And Susan and I think Marianne and the leadership, we're very committed to putting some diverse voice in those seats. We need a little help for trying to find people. A lot of the leadership community is already engaged in social justice issues, already presenting different things. So finding people who have time and the passion. So we're working through some of that, but if anybody has any recommendations, we really need them with us. We need to root on that. So Susan and I, after this bit, that is our next hit it hard phase, is really trying to uncover the leadership pieces that we bring forward for West Michigan.
Let me think about it too.
Please do. Please.
Leaders in that thinking might, I'll just I'll pass it to you and just, hey, just food for something to think about. Have no idea, but might be someone.
Yes,
please.
Thanks.
That would be awesome. Let's take just a 5-minute bio break, grab water, whatever
you call it a bio break.
Sorry, it's a bio break. We also used to do the conservative clap. Like, instead of clapping after a presentation, we would do one clap. That was good job, Megan. One clap. So everyone, yep, there we go. So I'm just gonna mute myself. I'm gonna take a minute, refill the coffee, and we'll meet back here in 5 minutes. And then Susan's gonna talk about some of the things that we do, the fun things, parties. Thanks for sticking with us. And then I'll mess up with what we need to go forward with.
Sounds good. See you all in 5 minutes.
I'm here.
Hi.
Hi.
I had to go feed my cat. He was out of his cat food. I was like, Bobby, you have to start, because he has a routine. You know, pets do have a routine. And
Yeah.
so I had to Bobby went and picked up food. So I heated up my coffee and I fed him. You would think he was starving to death. Ginger, I also have a spider in the presentation. I'm here and one crawled up the wall right behind me. And you know me and Sirs.
Yeah, I had one day and it was huge too, Susan. It was huge. And I thought of you in all your stories.
Like, all I can think of is that I know dead, but that it's crawling on the floor right below my feet. And so, you know what I killed it with? Aaliyah's $150 Nikes that she bought herself with her own Christmas money. She's never going to know because I'm going to share a screen. What is this doing? Are you seeing my screen?
Not yet?
But you're not. Let me see here.
I feel like Marianne will know lots of this, but there's new initiatives. And so just kind of give us an all set to where we are starting with the same conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me get this up and rocking. Are you seeing it now?
We are.
You're probably not seeing the right presentation, are you?
That's it.
Are you seeing it in presentation mode? Are you seeing my toolbar?
See the toolbar.
I don't want to say that. Now what are you saying? Do you still see the tool?
Yeah.
What?
You go from there. Fine.
Okay, one more shot. I know the screen's going to look so much better. Hang on, let me get out and go back in. Let me start real quick. Sorry, guys.
Did I sing like the waiting music from?
Everyone always makes fun of me because I am the one who like forever has a technical issue. How about now?
Still toolbar. Oh.
I don't either. You guys might be on toolbar. Should I be doing something different? And it's recorded, so everybody watches this later is going to like,
this is Susan's technical difficulties. I think you just go with it, Susan.
I just go with it. So here we go, you guys. I want to share this information with you on some of our signature events and our core revenue properties, because this truly is the meat and potatoes of what we do here at the American Cancer Society. This is everything that we do is sort of, this is part of it. This is where it started. And so I just want to share with you the way we in local communities connect with individuals to help raise critical funds for the American Cancer Society. So the first slide, there we go, I want to share is, wait, let me, no, sorry, I'm trying to share something else. Relay Life, you guys. Relay for Life is truly the cornerstone event for the American Cancer Society. This is the foundation for our community events and kind of where it all started. So starting in 1985, there's a doctor in Spokane, Washington, who realized that cancer doesn't stop. And he realized that cancer doesn't take a day off and doesn't take a break. So he decided to create his very own walkathon of sorts and said, hey, you guys donate to me. I'm going to donate money and I'm going to walk around this track 24 hours straight. And he did that. And he raised, I don't know how much he raised, but he raised a bunch of money, and it birthed this movement called Relay for Life. And it has now turned into the largest grassroots cancer fundraising event, not only in our nation, but as you can see at the bottom, about 27 different countries. So it's expanded beyond our US borders, and this is to a worldwide movement. So if you ever think that you as one individual can't make a difference, think back to 1985 Spokane, Washington, and go on the track and look at what this has turned to. So we can make a difference, and funds raised through Relay for Life help support all those programs that you heard Megan talk about earlier. Access to treatment through free rides and hotel partners. If you saw the chat, my friend Stacy, who I talk to every day, her dad lives down in Florida. He needed a stem cell transplant to take care of the cancer that he had throughout his life. And the hospital was quite a drive. American Cancer Society put him up at Home to Suites Hotel near his cancer treatment center. And because of that, he's alive. So you don't think that dollars matter? Matter. Whoever said they were going to cry earlier, I cry all the time. You just break through it with me. So the funds that are raised Relay for Life, if you ever attend an event, you realize we are honoring our survivors. At this event, Marianne Kestidis, she used to be a Grand Rapids Relay all the time. We are fighting back. We are celebrating lives saved. This is why we do. That picture that you see right there, that real picture from a real Relay for Life. So this is kind of the heart of what we do at American Cancer Society. In Michigan, you're going to see we've got 56 different Relay for Life events, 56 throughout the state. Some have already happened. Some are happening in the coming weeks. Some won't happen until, the fall. But the point is, in a community near you, we've got a Relay for Life event. I'm going to be really honest, this used to be a lot more. Throughout the years, Relay Life, like everything else, has seen its changes. And where they all used to be 24 hours, now some are 12 hours, now some are 8 hours. But the heart and soul of what we do Relay is still very alive and well. And so what I take away from this, not that Relay is declining, but that Relay for Life really needs all hands on deck, every volunteer, every sponsor dollar available, because there are real people, your neighbors, the person grocery store that you parked next to needs your help for Relay for Life. And so I want you to take a look at this. And if you see the events with the asterisks next to it, those are the ones that personally manage. But we do have events still in West Michigan and Greater Michigan, like Bear County, Sparta, Grand Valley State University. Those are managed either by a different staff partner or by the volunteers themselves. Who just said, I don't have a staff partner available because COVID happened, but we're still here to wave our purple flag if this happens. So that we always joke that there's nobody more resilient than a Relay volunteer. So there are some who said, that's okay, we'll still do it. So those events are still going on thanks to volunteers. All right, and next slide I want to share with you is literally a picture of actual Relay for Life events that have happened right here in our community. So I hope that you look at this and you really get that feeling of, yeah, these are the people in my community. This is grassroots. This is boots on the ground. This is what Relay for Life is all about. This group from the Lakeshore Lancers is Lakeshore High School in Stevensville, Michigan, down in Berrien County. That is teachers and students and friends. This picture of all the little sort of strings, and you can make lap beads. So when everybody goes around the track, they can put a bead and put it on their strings so they know how many laps that they've taken. And this is a fundraiser that a team in Holland created as part of inside their little tent at Relay for Life so that they raise money while they're in cancer on site. And this picture of these two girls right here, I'll try not to cry this one too. The girl in the shirt is Delilah Tubin. She is my friend's niece. She was diagnosed at 9 with leukemia. She shaved her own head, and that is her at Ray in Ionia County on Portland Schools track. These are real people, and this is the real deal. And this is boots on the ground. This is why we do it. And Delilah's free, you guys. So super exciting. She's right to dancing like she always does. If you can't, she's a dancer. Take a look at a picture. Her shirt actually says, and I have one, and I wear it all the time. And her shirt actually says on the back, if you can kick your face, you can kick leukemia. It's their fundraising shirt. So that is Lila and her sister. So, and then Naria is a part of Relay as well. These illuminated bags are sold to teams, and they're sold for donation by teams, and they light them up at dusk. And people decorate their bags and ever in memory of someone who has fought cancer. That is probably the most touching moment of Relay life. Very special. So until you've experienced it, it is its own thing, and you just really appreciate it till you're there. So I hope this depicts for you how amazing Relay is when a community comes together and really makes it happen. And as you can see back at this first slide, raising $279 million per year. So if you don't think $1 matters, it all added up to $270 million per year. So it all matters. So that's Relay, you guys. And I just want to pause real quick and break up the talkie and ask you guys, what's your most memorable moment at Charity Walk or an event? So think back to all the events that you've attended, whether it's a diabetes walk or whether it's a Relay Life event or Making Strides or a charity gala that you were in. What really stood to you as a memorable moment, and why is that memorable? You can come on mute and share it with us, or you can type it in the chat. Who's got something to share?
I was telling Susan yesterday that worked registration at one of these charity. Oh, I love bagpipers, Mary. I love bagpipers. But like at one of our charity, I had this big purple font hair, which I still have, which I may need to relay. But I was working registration tent, and I had all my volunteers like rattling like what's it called? Cowbell. Like every time someone would come up with a big donation, we do the cowbells, and several of us had on big bouffant prepare, and everybody was like, can we do it again next year? Can we come you work with me? And we just had so much fun. So much fun.
Yeah. Fighting cancer doesn't have to be boring, guys. Cancer's hard enough. Fighting should. You get to throw fun in there, right?
Something about bagpipes, because my memory was at the gala for Make-A-Wish.
Yeah.
And there was a 5-year-old little boy that had cancer, and he wanted to be a fireman. So a local fire department actually dressed him up in full gear with a hat, and the whole fire team marched in with him with his little salute. He marched in with them. They had bagpipes, and I couldn't keep it together.
Oh my gosh, I would have lost it on site.
It was really amazing.
That's amazing. Really yeah. And guys, tell us when you're out in the community attending other events, like you said at the Make-A-Wish, tell us like what's going well and what's going, and we can adapt and strategize on how to make our things even more effective and more powerful too. So we love to hear the stories. So
absolutely. And that's what we build our events off of, right? Everybody has a story, and they're all different. Everyone's journey is different, but there's that underlying common theme. Nobody wants to be part of this club, right? When you know someone who's had cancer, but here we are, we're all in the same club, and I'm glad to be in it with you guys. So let me move on to the next charity event, the grassroots event that we have. And it is, here, let me miss this. You might not be able to see my whole screen. Making Strides Against Cancer, you guys. Making Strides Against Breast Cancer is an amazing event. It is how I started my path. American Cancer Society was managing 3 Make Strides events in the month of October in 3 different communities, and that made October interesting. But I will tell you that there's nothing more rewarding than watching everybody come together in Rosa Parks Circle in Grand Rapids, all dressed in pink for the same cause. It's very moving. So Making Strides Against Breast Cancer is a little bit different than Relay for Life in that it's a little more corporate founded, where Relay for Life really thrives on, of course, sponsorship from community partners, but also like you saw in that picture, the school teams and Delilah and her friends and, you know, the group in the neighborhood coming together and raising money. Making Against Breast Cancer has that same foundation, but it's a little bit different. It's more corporate donations and sponsorship, and we still have teams who raise money, but it's skewed differently. So Making Strides Against Breast Cancer is the largest network breast cancer events in the entire country. We've got over 300 of them. Each walk, some people make it a 5K. Our walk is 2 miles. It suits our event well. And so we make a 2-mile walk through downtown GR. We cross the Calder Plaza, we cross Anabawan Park, the Ford Museum, the Blue Bridge. We had to find some Grand Rapids landmarks and take our participants by that. So in the state of Michigan, we've got 7 different walks. West Michigan is the one, obviously, that I am overseeing. Ann Arbor is another really great walk, and Oakland counts really well also. But West Michigan is our walk. And when we West Michigan, you guys, it's not just Grand Rapids. We got support from companies in Holland. We are just now gaining support from the previous walk in Kalamazoo. They are coming up to join us in West Michigan. So we can look forward to companies like Stryker being part of our event and really being a powerful force when we all going together to fight cancer together. So our West Michigan walk sees on a non-COVID year about 700 to 1,000 walkers. So if you can envision Rosa Parks Circle with up to 1,000 pink, powerful, passionate people, say that 3 times fast, in Rosa Parks Circle, it is, you could see pink electricity. That's what it is. It is so moving. You can't even put words around it. And so I'm going to show you a little bit. So this, a few snapshots of our Michigan walk over the past couple of years. In the top corner, you see the big balloon arch, which is so, we get that every year. And that pinked out team down there is Spectrum Health's team. And they show up all in these neon shirts and they walk together. Spectrum Health is one of our flagship sponsors for the event. Then the opposite corner on the top is Martha McMurray and Team Cancer Slayers. Martha's on our volunteer leadership team with Making Strides. She's been with us for 3 years. She is a cancer survivor, and that's her friends and family. And Martha raises most of her money through Facebook fundraiser, and she has Pacesetter, which is $2,500 or more raised by an individual every year. She's extremely passionate, and she will stop at nothing to help fight cancer. The picture in the very middle, I will share the picture over and over year after year. That's Tamika. She is amazing. That sassy in that picture is all Tamika. And that is how she struts this entire walk, because she is a breast cancer survivor. And though she still has her struggles, she doesn't give up. And that is flown Tamika right there. So I will do that forever. But if you guys look down in the bottom corner and you see all these signs that say, "I'm here because of you," those are our survivors. So we invite our survivors up to the stage so that we can recognize and honor them. Some of them are just getting their hair back. Some of them just lost their hair. Some of them are in a wheelchair. And some of them are 10 years out. And what's really important is the sign they're holding. It says, "I'm here because of you." So what that means is we still have to do, you guys. They're here because we put up this fight for over 20 years in Grand Rapids, raising money with Strides Against Breast Cancer. All funds that are raised in Strides Against Breast Cancer are earmarked for our properties. So breast cancer research, breast cancer support programs like Reach Recovery, and of course, taking down some of the barriers with access to treatment. So before I move on to our networking campaigns, does anyone have any questions so far about Life for Life or Making Strides Against Breast Cancer?
We're all crying, Susan. We're bringing students to these events. We're ready to be in person, ready to make this happen. So
ready.
I can't wait to see you live in October when we're all there at Rosa Parks. It's going to be great.
And that's important to note here. You guys, we are planning for in-person events now. So as long as we don't end up with a full-blown 4th wave, and as long as we are following all of our local guidelines, we are planning an in-person event. It may not look exactly like this, but absolutely, we are hoping to have an in-person event.
I do have a question.
Yes.
So Relay for Life and then Making Strides.
Yeah.
Where does the one that we hear so much about is the Susan B. Komen? I mean, does that come in? Is
Yeah,
it part of
really
this,
good.
or-
Yeah, that's a really great question. So Pullman is a completely separate organization, but people do confuse us a lot because we're similar in the fight, right? We are fighting for cure to breast cancer, to end breast cancer. And so Susan Pullman does Race for the Cure. And that is usually takes place in spring. I am not super well versed in Pullman's foundation, but I know one thing that they do focus on a little bit more than what we focus on is education. And they do a little bit more with prevention grants with their health systems in their areas. So we get that question all the time, Annette. So you are right in line with everyone else is thinking too. And so, yeah, we are two separate events entities, both for the same cause
And pink.
And both pink. Yeah.
Well, I think that's interesting, right? Education power. So
education is very powerful.
So
I think that challenges us, right? To sure we continue to get as much press, not more. Because I can tell you, as someone, just from the outside looking in, there's a whole lot of press throughout the United States on what they're doing. And people like myself said, "Oh, they must be donating their money back to the American Cancer Society." Yeah. And it's no, they're separate. So very interesting and great information. Yeah. Got to get out there more and get these out there. We get the same press. They do get a lot of press.
They do get a lot of press. And I don't know, I can say that when we have, and this obviously something we super dive into, in more detail, but what I do understand, we've tried to make some outreaches for maybe some media partnerships, and media partnerships are hard to come by when you're looking for kind of a give for that relationship, where they'll give you, so we get some coverage through Town Square Media a little bit, and we've started with Fox 17 a bit more. So Ginger is working on developing some of those relationships on a higher level so that we can get some more press. We just know that if our ultimate goal is to reduce the mortality rate by 40% within the next 15 years, we've got to put as much back towards the mid as we possibly can. But it's almost like a catch-22, because if you need all the people to do it, you want to know about your event. So you want to get the word out there, but you don't want enough money to get the word out there. So how do you do that? So this is something that I think we would love to find some inroads on and go through the coming months with our council.
Excellent.
I want to butt in for 2 seconds, Susan.
Yeah.
So Annette, you've probably heard of Breast Cancer Foundation as well. I know they do a lot in like e-commerce and the clothing lines. It seems like I see their stuff everywhere. So there's a lot of people like competing for noise and working in the space, like pink pins, pink shirts, like this happens, right? And so just being cognizant of who's doing what. And to Laura's, she said she does a lot of work with Gilda's. I also was taking care of Gilda's during the cancer journey. So this is the way I think of it. Susan G. Komen is usually on the front end, looking for funding for mammograms, getting more people screened, that kind of thing, working with those gram buses, like drive around, different things like that. ACS is working in the midst of the journey, like we'll get you with hotel, we have information, support, and research. Then you've got Gilda's Club, who's working on more of the mental health side of things. So they're doing counseling for groups, providing one-on-one counseling as well as therapies for people in the journey. So if you kind of strain out the journey a little bit and think of like in that moment, in that critical seeing treatment right now. Thank you, Lori. Yep, social support side. And Gil's wonderful partner, wonderful work, looking at more of the social support side. Yep. So that kind of just clarifies that.
Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. Well said. Thank you.
Go ahead.
All right. Megan had mentioned earlier, you guys, about researchers. She asked if we heard that yet, and I said, I can't wait to talk about it. And so here it is. One thing that we mentioned is that out of the 49 researchers that American Cancer Society has out over the years, the individuals have won the Nobel Prize and been a woman. And this is your chance to help us make that happen. So researchers is a really interesting concept that we started early years ago. And if you are looking for girl power, this is where it hangs out right here. So this is a group of women leaders in our community who are raising their hand and saying, I want to raise money for the American Cancer Society, and the funds that I raise are to help fund female-led cancer research. So throughout this entire program, the funds that are raised through researchers get set aside for female researchers who are getting their on the ground for the next big breakthrough. And you guys have the power to help us make that happen. It is, if that doesn't like get your, feelers going, I don't know what does. This is amazing. So right now on our researchers website, which I will share with you, you will see we've got, gosh, I didn't even take, I think it's 15 women already signed up. This doesn't even start May. So this takes place in the month of May. And the reason we refer to these as networking events, this and 3 snippets I'm going to share with you we refer to them as networking events because that's truly what it is. These like-minded people raise their hand and say, I'm in. It's not necessarily a walk or a relay for life event. A lot of this takes place, you see kind of a board style, right? So you see everybody up on the website and raising money, and their picture and their total is right there. And as soon as somebody else gets another $500 donation, they might move to the lead spot. So it is truly a board campaign. But we do provide opportunities, whether in person or virtual, to network with each other and make those important connections. We've had really cool professional connections made that might create a partnership for down the road. So there's multiple reasons that these campaigns that I'm going to talk about are really special and important. When it comes down to researchers, we ask committed ambassador who raises their hand and says, yeah, it's me, to do just 2 things. One is set your goal at $2,500 so that you can help a female-led cancer research grant. Additionally, yes, you just spread the word, right? Throughout LinkedIn, your social media, your professional network outside of social media, your friends and family, they know what you're doing. They can help support your cause. And then we ask you to just encourage other men, right? Encourage them to join the movement. Maybe you've raised your hand and you go, I know the perfect person. Bring them along with you because we can only succeed when we're all in this together. And then we provide a little researcher's little pin to wear every in the month of May, just to wear your commit out loud. And, somebody might ask about it and say, what's with the pin? What's researchers? And then that gives the opportunity to share about it. So this campaign, this movement is happening right now, even though it doesn't officially start for another month. We are active recruiting for this. So you're going to hear a little bit more about, what we need from you when I do this, but we are active recruiting. So if you're gear going right now and you're thinking, oh gosh, yep, I know. And it doesn't even have to be, the CEO of a major company, it can be, but it can also be a teacher at your school who beat breast cancer and is really passionate about it. It can be the soccer coach, for your youth soccer league. It can be a student. It can be, it can literally be anybody who has a passion for this cause and willing to step outside and raise funds. So that's researchers. Another networking campaign that we have is called Power Pink. And this one started last year and it birthed out of COVID because each year with Making Strides Against Breast Cancer, obviously we tried to get some new team captains, and we knew that those new team captains didn't have a walk to end. But if they still wanted to raise money and we feel like they were grounded in something, we created Power Pink last year. And what it's really good for is some of the individuals who don't have a walk near them. You said there's 7 walks in the state of Michigan. If there's not a walk near you, but you feel really passionate about having something to be grounded in the against breast cancer in the month of October, this is your right here. So it does leaders together, kind of virtually, to create a platform to help fight breast cancer. One thing that we lived through this pandemic, and Megan shared a little bit about this earlier, is that we have seen an 87% drop in screening, specifically mammograms, throughout the pandemic. And that's scary, you guys. That is really scary. I have 2 friends currently fighting cancer right now, and they didn't have their screenings. One of them triple negative. If they didn't have their screening, what would happen? That's scary. And so we have to still wave our pink flag all the time. And this is one way that we can do it. And so ACS currently funds 69 million in multi-year research grants focused just on breast cancer. And we can't let COVID slow it down. I don't know about you guys, but I'm just about done talking about COVID. But we can't let the progress that we've stopped. So whether there's a walk near you or not, this is an opportunity for people to engage in the fight against breast cancer. We'll hear a little bit more of this as we get close to October. If you know somebody who there's not a walk near them and they feel really passionate about using funds, this is a great opportunity for you. Sweet little Delilah Tubergen, who I saw on the screen earlier, Delilah was actually one of our Gold Together champions last year. This girl not only kicked leukemia's butt, but she also said, hold on, let me sign up and tell everybody why I did this. So Gold Together Michigan is another of those leaderboard campaigns that focuses on fighting childhood cancer. We know that cancer is a leading disease cause of death for children ages 1 to 19. And I have 3 children. One is still a child, 2 are adults. I don't know, about you guys. Nothing is more devastating or a helpless feeling when something like that happens to your child and you can fix it. That's awful. It's an extremely helpless feeling, and I have a child with asthma. I know how I feel when he's struggling to air in his lungs. I cannot imagine how I would feel if he was stricken with cancer and could get out of bed. So Gold Together helps pull funds into the American Cancer Society so that we can continue to fund the $34 million specific grants to childhood cancer that we have going on right now. I will tell you guys that throughout the pandemic, we actually had research grants needing to be funded that we were in danger of not funding. And thank goodness the American Cancer Society had the leadership make some very strategic edits to how we do business so that we were able to fund those grants. And pulling Gold Together campaign together in the midst of a pandemic is one of those ways that we were able to do that. And I will share with you that our Michigan campaign was #1 in the nation last year. We blew it out of the water, and it is all because of the passion that lies within each individual who not only recruit a candidate, but candidates who raise their hand and say, yep, I'm doing this. So Gold Together of Michigan takes place in the month of September. We will be looking for some incredible candidates to help fight cancer from a childhood cancer lens. So please get Jill's turn in about that, because we're going to be looking guys for some help recruiting some candidates and hang on to our #1 spot. The last one I want to talk to you guys about is probably one of my favorites. It's called Real Men Wear Pink of West Michigan. And the year I started, a year this came to Michigan. So Real Men Wear Pink gives men the opportunity to be on the forefront of fighting cancer. So Real Men Wear Pink is our flagship engagement program, networking program with 200 campaigns nationwide. Michigan has been an amazing ground for this event, but I am going to climb back up to that spot that we held our first year we did this. So similarly to researchers, we are asking men to raise $2,500, set that as the goal, wear pink every single day in the month of October, raise awareness through, again, Sophia, Professional Networks, LinkedIn. Just when you're wearing every day, a guy, someone actually is going to say, why are you wearing pink every day? And then you get the opportunity, they get the opportunity to say why. And that can only lead to donations, right? And so that's our idea through doing this, is that it gives men the opportunity, because you guys, we are not the only ones who get cancer. 25 men a year are diagnosed with breast cancer. I met a guy named Joe Hansen. He used to work at Real-Town. That's not where I met him. And he actually went down to Arizona with his family to be near his father. His father is a breast cancer survivor. And Drew helped us raise money for Real Men Wear Pink in the past. And all because his dad, breast cancer survivor. So keep that in mind, that men are, sometimes they're the patient, but most times they're the caretakers. They're the shoulder to cry on. They're the ride to treatment, right? They're the ones making or helping with the homework because mom is a day out from chemo. So men is affected by this. This gives these guys the opportunity to raise hand and say, count me in. I'm fighting for my so-and-so. And if you don't believe me, look at the slide. These are shots for actual Real Men Wear campaign over the 6 years, 5 years. We're in our 6th. I will never not share this picture, bottom corner, the tutu and the pink onesie. That is former Superintendent of Wyoming Public Schools, Dr. Reeder. Dr. Reeder told our student body that if they raised $5,000 by the coming game, he would run the Trinipig 2-2. Looks like we hit our goal. So I will not share that. And right over in the opposite corner is our council's very Steve Wiltz. Steve signed up for Real Men Wear Pink last year. How Ginger and I met him and brought him along this journey with us. That's how he dressed every day. No lie, he showed up to Uccello like that. It was pretty amazing. And then, you know, right down here in the bottom was a fundraiser this guy, Tim Johnson, did at Water Brewery. So you can do many different ways. As Casey Jones in the pink bathroom, Wood TV8 morninker. He was in 2017. You can't see it, but he did show up at our walk-in bunny slippers also. He said it was the only ad. I don't know if that's so, but that showed up. This just shows you guys how fun and exciting this event be and how much fun you can have with it. And fighting cancer is hard. You get to throw a little fun in there where you can fight it, right? All right. So what do we need from you? Here it is. It comes to our community events like Relay for Life and Making Strides Against Breast Cancer. We are looking for just a couple of things from you guys. We need the most audacious volunteer on our team, and there's a good reason for it. We need some incredible volunteers because their energy, and if they're connected, they're going to help us reach out and get more teams and new sponsors. We need people who aren't afraid to ask. And if you know that volunteer that's a go-getter, we need to know they are. We also looking for volunteers that want to join our committee because they can bench, because eventually our event lead is going to go, move on, and maybe, you know, going back to school or whatever it is. We need someone that is a leader that we can plug into the next spot so that we don't lose any ground with the fight against cancer. The volunteers are the heartbeat of what we do. And in our events and our events, they can't happen without volunteers. So we are looking for that next volunteer from, you think from Rutherford all the way down to the Indiana border. If you know somebody who would perfect, we know who they are. And then we're also seeking sponsors for our event because rain or shine, whether the event ends or not, those sponsor dollars are guaranteed funds. And we need those to help stand our events back up. Also allows us to educate. So Annette had hit the nail on the head when she said education is power. When we have a connection company, it allows Ginger and I to work with those companies on a more intimate level where we can help educate their employees on colorectal cancer screenings. It just opens the door for us so we can provide some of those education materials and work wellness programs to help them reduce their risk. That's helping us hit our goal of 40% mortality reduction by the next 15 years. And it also just helps build our event overall, right? Because more companies helps us have a bigger event, helps reach further, and help the event continue to grow. So we don't see a decrease like we have seen Relay over the years. And then the slide I have for you guys is what we need from you when it comes to the leaderboard campaigns. So we are looking at next amazing ambassador. Give me the audacious person who is like ready to rock and roll, right? Because that can provide our West Michigan campaigns with the boost that we know it's out there, but like Ginger said before, we don't know everybody. We know a lot of people. We don't know everybody. So we're counting on this council to be our eyes and our ears and our hands to help us bring those individuals in, help us spread word, right, through your professional network, because when we all together, some real magic can happen in these programs and we need to see it. And then encourage us to join our fight. And perhaps somebody who's a reserve for 2021, you've got somebody, you know, waiting the wings to take over 2022 and start our campaign ahead. So that we're looking for, in addition to some companies can help us sponsor these events, these events can only succeed when we have that real financial foundation. So we do have some sponsorship works for Real Men Pink, which can really that campaign get off to a great start. With $50,000 goal that campaign, and you know it's difficult to hit on raising alone. If we have a great financial foundation, that gives us a boost, right? And that's what we're looking for out of that. So I know that was a lot of information and I've been talking fast. Does anyone have questions for me or anything you want to ask about there? That was a lot. All right.
I do have a question. So
Yeah.
like you said, it's a lot, right? And a lot of money. So my question would be, as we go and talk to people, you talked about a lot of different things, right? There's the Relay for Life in May, right? Which could be anybody can do it, right? Yep. Put a group together. Making Strides Against Breast Cancer, which is the walk in October.
Yep.
And then you're looking for research, women leadership, so researchers,
Mhm.
which is somebody take the lead and come up with some kind of group donation of at least 2,500 or as much as you can get.
Yep.
And then there's men wear pink, and then we need volunteers. So
A lot.
it is. So I'm going, I've got a pretty good base of people, but there's, in addition to this, there's a lot of people doing other things, right? So first question's going to be, how much time do I got to put into this? Right? I know it. This is what we hear when we ask for volunteers. And I think if you could give us, whether it's now or you can send it to us, but what else goes along with a volunteer? Like how many hours approximately?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a really good question. When you volunteer for one of our community events, 1 hour a month is what our meetings are. So for example, Making Strides Against Breast Cancer, we meet every second Tuesday of the month for 1 hour, and it's a virtual meeting. And then, maybe throughout the month, if you're seeking out sponsorship, you might carve out an hour to a couple evenings, rest of the month that you're going, who do I know? What I do all the time, if I'm being here or there and I see a company that I didn't know about, I literally took a picture of it at a stoplight once. And Ginger, when I got back, like, hey, do we know anybody here? So really always keeping your returning. It sounds like a lot. When it comes to Real Men Wear Pink, for example, my husband voluntold that he is a Real Man Pink this year. He has almost $300 on the board so far because I take pop cans. And so that's like, so it really is, some men just shout there through Facebook or their social network. So it doesn't always have to be a great deal of time. Sometimes is, a matter of a couple hours a month that takes, but we definitely talk in a little bit more detail. I can put more concise notes and get those out to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm working on a few voluntold. So I think
a
a few, and I just want to make sure I can tell them. And if you do this, it's only 1 hour a month approximately. That's nothing.
Right.
Okay. Exactly.
Well, like in terms of like this council, you guys working on the council, like my goal time commitment is 4 hours a year. Right? Like that you attend an event, that's going to be a little more time. Our meetings and stuff, the activities you guys are doing with us, hopefully the guideline is about 40 hours for the whole year. Right. If you're a participant in an event, it's less time than even Susan outlined. If you are a committee member, once a month, you're at a meeting, that kind of thing. So we can definitely flesh those out. And I would say that sometimes you bring a volunteer to us and not know where they fit. And that's why you include us, because then we talk to them and figure out where their passions are, where we're going to connect, and then hopefully hook into the piece that really fit for them. Right.
Excellent.
So
okay. Your homework.
We got some homework, and I don't want to hold you up. I know we're cracking into the finishing moments, but this is really going to be the meat and potatoes of the volunteer council and what we are looking to accomplish. If you can stick with me, I'll do my best to move us through it quickly. And then we'll be done. So one thing I was going to do right off the bat is we have traditionally been calling it, this is the area board for West Michigan. There is a state board that it's, and that will go into more of the structure pieces. But the request has come up for us to rename ourselves the Great Michigan Volunteer Council, because we want to be inclusive of our outer lying areas. We want to start to recruit leadership from Kalamazoo, Traverse City, possibly Lansing, because that really is our footprint that we oversee those areas. Mm-hmm. When Megan was talking about Flint Project, that's actually falls under our umbrella. And so we're working through a little, making sure that's okay with us if we rename ourselves, but we're going to Greater Michigan. This is the greater side of Michigan, right? I always say that. So let's dive in. I just wanted to launch off with a quote. Together as a volunteer council, we're embarking on a journey together. We're going to polish each other. We're going to work together. We're going to succeed at our goals. We know we will be better than we've been in the past because we have more people at the table. We have more talents, more time, more focus. So thank you for that. It will be a journey. We're not going to be perfect. We're still polishing as we go, but I'm pretty excited about it, and I hope you guys are too. So I wanted to launch us with ACS's core values. If someone say like, what do you, how me to operate as a council member, as a board member of ACS, is the core values, American Cancer. We want to operate with the utmost integrity. We don't want to be in question about our mission, our purpose, direction. We want to be compassionate for each other as we are hearing these perhaps vulnerable stories shared with our volunteers and each other. We just want to make sure we're a trusting place, compassionate place. Courage. I'm going to go to my buzzword here. Susan always let me, but we be courageous and audacious in our act. We want to aim high. We want to ask for people that we never thought would engage with us, and we're going to get them at the table, and we're going to get them to participate in ways that we never could have dreamed of. And sometimes, ask for that top guy, the president of the organization. Maybe you're going to land somewhere else that you didn't expect, but maybe it's even better, right? So we be audacious in our plans. We need determined and never give up. These goals are not unattainable, Susan, and I've seen them. We can not only attain it, but I'm telling you, we're going to kill it. And so it's going to be a good run. So, and then diversity, I want to make sure that as a board, council are intentional and compassionate and kind with our leaders and who we're including table. All right, the council, we're going to go through these objectives, the expectations, the structure, priorities, just kind of quickly. Some of this will flesh out more in our individual meetings, but I wanted to give us all a level set. So we'll start off with the objectives. So I often get members will say, but what do you want to do? Like, how do I know if I succeeded? What is it that you're asking me to do? And we just need you to do 3 things. If you're going to put down, we need you to lead, help create awareness in the community. We need to fund. So we need to find opportunity. That doesn't mean you necessarily need just a giant check, not at all. Sometimes it's just bring forward the opportunity. We need to connect, which generally in this case is going to mean recruiting people, making friends, pulling those connections, fill all the gaps. So those are the main 3 pieces that we're looking for. We'll launch here into expectations and the structure of our council. ACS says that we land around 20 members. We have a vision of landing around 20 right now. We will have room for some diversity members that we can make room and make sure that we're including the right people around the table if there's someone that we need. We want to make sure that we're, like I had said, and brought forth the diversity of gender, race, profession. It isn't always just about ethnic minorities. Sometimes it's about, in my last board, we didn't have a C firm, and we need someone with a financial mind to engage us. And so we really need to find that. So looking at the makeup of our current board and who we have in the seats and being strategic about it and getting the right people to fill those roles. Our annual year runs January 1 through 31st. We'll be meeting bi-monthly, and we have a schedule we'll give to you at the end. This is the structure that we envisioned and laid out. It is as we are operating at this moment. We do not have a chairman for the development side or for the ultimate structure. Really, we're letting Mary and Laura operate in those roles right now, and they've been kind and gracious to do that. Ultimately, Marian and Laura says the chair of the impact team, and we will to flesh out a chairman of the development team. We did get the RJ Corning joined us on our mixer. He is a board member with Whirl, and he will be the liaison. They want one to be able to rep back to the state work we were doing in our council. I think that's kind of great. I listed on the side of this, and you guys will have copies of this. You'll have it. Some of the partners, the staff partners that you may hear from or see in our meetings joining us from time to time. Susan and I, of course, are your main first source of anything that you may need or questions. Tom, Rich, and Nagy are both answer control, and they have certain accounts that they take care of that I know are going to come up a lot. So I just outlined on our sheet. Ashley Wakefield, Marianne, you probably know Ashley from your work with ACS CANS. Those folks will be joined from time to time in our meetings and help us set our directions. So want to spend a second and really flesh out, like, what is the difference between the development council role and the mission impact? And what does that work look like? And so I want to give you a couple of examples. I put the symbol of Wi-Fi on the development council because we really are going to create this World Wide Web, like our web of connection and leadership and getting to the right people in the community, getting in places that Susan could never have dreamed we could get in front of. There a give or get request of $5,000. Again, like Susan says, this isn't like we're going to bill you or anything. This is just the guideline of what we hope it will raise if they're on the development council. We're asking everyone to introduce us to new companies, assist in stewarding. So if there's a meeting with a person that you know better than we know them, we want for you to attend with us possible. Make us aware of funding opportunities, and then recruit leadership for the council, but also to fill the gaps in our leadership first events or other activities that we're looking for. On the left or on the side was just examples of things that you could do. Obviously, this isn't everything. This is just like some ideas. Like if you did these things, that would be some of the activities that you would be engaged in. So recruiting a real men wear pink person, helping make an ask for chairman to an event, setting up personally as an ambassador for one of the networking leaderboard events. Mission Council, or the Mission Impact Group, is the Give or Get is $1,000. Honestly, we want to make a level that was accessible for all so we can make sure they have the skills that we need in the room. I see Mission Impact being media, so awareness, build awareness, in partnership, our healthcare groups, are anyone who can amplify voice, and then getting involved in those local communities that are already working on cancer and make sure ACS is actually presented in that room. So it could be work around social media. It could be work around attending a local symposium, bringing back the information for all of us to make sure that we're investing in the right directions for the community, identifying some treatment, really digging in what is that cancer experience like in Grand Rapids, in West Michigan, in Michigan, and understanding that and helping be the eyes and ears for future opportunities. This may be more like foundations and grants and specific work, and possibly even addressing some of those gaps. This may be the group that comes up with a project, and maybe we are charged to like carry out this project. So that is Mission Impact.
And if I can just real quick add, some of the Mission Impact pieces, another way that might be looking to Mission Impact team help support is Marianne and Laura, you guys are all emceeing the mission breakfast or the research kickoff.
Right.
So we might even have, once we get back into in-person events, we're going to be looking to you guys too to be our volunteers, our representation in our community as well. And so there's some other ways to get you guys involved and let our audience hear from a volunteer voice how important it is to be involved.
Thanks, Susan. So one of the ways, this feels like one of those cliches, like plan without a goal is just a dream, you know what I mean? So we want to get a little bit down to brass tacks. We want to have a little accountability for this group. We want to make sure that we're achieving our goals and we're not just all showing up and eating a sandwich and having a cup of coffee. And that's all great. We want to do that too, but we want to make sure that we have a little bit of work to do and some accomplishment. The main thing that we're going to ask you to do after today is for you to fill out the personal action plan. Really, that is going to identify where you're going to engage. And Susan and I can, the chairman of each of the group and the councils, can use that to help accomplish what you said you would do, right? So this is the form that I'll actually send you guys after this call. And it talks about like, where are you going to connect? Where are you look for funding? Where are you going to lead? How will you engage with ACS this year? At the end of the year, we love to be able to pull this back out, hopefully before the end of the year, but like at the end of the year, making sure that we have engaged you in the way you asked to be engaged. Make sure that we have accomplished what you meant to accomplish. If you didn't, how can we get better next year? So it's really going to be the basis of our personal plan with each member. Any questions?
I love it. I think such an amazing form.
Thank you. I made it
a really nice outline, you know, like easy to, it's very tangible.
The other piece that I would like to implement, and I have a copy of this that I can share with you, especially like Laura and Marianne, is a annual board assessment. We have an assessment. It's something that most boards kind of do to kind of like level set. How did we do this year? Are we doing this? Are we a good board? Did we do what we said we were going to do? Have we accomplished any of this that we set out to do? And so we're going to implement this assessment. I'll probably do a soft check right now and just see where we are because we know there'll be growth, right? So it'll be right at the end of the year when we all come together and take a look at this in our score and see how we did and where we improve. And it's not a pass or fail kind of thing. It's really more making room to make us even more, make us stronger as a council. So I have to share that at the end. So priorities. So just obviously our main priority as a whole is increased cancer incidence, but she said mortality by 40% by 2035. So that's our big goal. So if someone said, what's ACS even working on right now? That's your go-to line. Enterprise strategic plan just came out actually this week, and I dropped it in here because we will develop our own strategies and our own plans based off the national plan. We will have programs, activities kind of couched around each of these so that we can achieve our goal in alignment with the national goals. I threw a couple of blue stars there on particular areas that I felt like we absolutely impact as the council. Increasing HPV awareness rates. I really think we do a project around that. Special mission impact team. Advocacy. We already know we're moving the needle on advocacy, and just having a few more voices at the table will be pretty powerful. So we'll delve more into this at a later time. I just wanted to start to marinate that for you. It's out there. This is the second part of that. I feel like we could have huge impact in pretty much everything under mission priorities. Reducing tobacco use, increasing screening and vaccination rates. In revenue and marketing, our development side is obviously working on corporate and digital revenue, some e-commerce pieces that are pretty exciting that we're working through. Then in terms of people priorities, I love working for an organization that values their staff so much. It has been a balm to the soul, I hope that you can sense that, and that we also value everything you guys bring. The diversity and inclusion piece will be big for us, and you'll see a little bit more as we've talked about that equity piece coming into play. There's some bigger plans for 2022 headed out. We want to make sure that you guys are engaged, educated, that we're giving you tools that you need to feel confident about bringing forward to work with us. So more information on that to come. This is a piece that I just want you guys to get used to hearing about. This will be bottom of every agenda we do with the meetings coming up. This is to help us keep that leadership and our gaps at the forefront of mind, as this is a core piece of what we need the council to be working on. So we have most of our chairmen for the events that are our purview in West Michigan. In fact, Ken Jan is one of our new council members, and he stepped up to be the chairman, West Michigan Realware Bank. So we are going to be really turning pink this year with leadership from our core group of people. Susan did just a bang up job getting these folks in place. I know she inherited Marion County's relay, so she didn't have it early on. We're going to need to figure out how to get her some leadership in that community, and we have friends and we keep working our networks that happen. We are needing to start think about how to set 2022. Let's be realistic. I can see there's an event, they're going to be next year, right? So the idea to get the leadership in place before we have the event. And then the last column is really the ambassadors / fundraisers for those leaderboard or teams. And I will continue to update this each time we have a meeting. Susan and I will chat these numbers. So for example, Relay for Life Rockford roughly needs 15 teams. These numbers aren't perfect yet. We're getting there. And they have 10 secured so far.
We've actually got 5.
Oh, we've improved.
I didn't send a number. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that's my fault.
Okay.
But we still need more.
So it's kind of the work that we be keeping our eye on in order for us to be successful. These are the areas that if we produce this, then we can have true impact on our work. Bottom, I noted there's an equity project coming up in 2022. We don't need someone necessarily today, but we start thinking about it. Who are those people that are going to be able to give us state level leadership in 2022? So that is, and I have a couple of subtle things on the back. Man, you're my long-standing winner of May the End. There are some toolkits and resources that are available out there. I will send you guys the links for those. There are brand toolkits, so you get the logo to look pretty if you wanted to use it on a charity of choice at your workplace. There is volunteer links. If you have a specific role, they have videos like how to do that successfully. All kinds of things. So we'll make sure that all that information is shared to you. This is actually what the volunteer site looks like. And then this is that council assessment that I mentioned. So you can't read it on here so much, but I will share with you, especially you, Marianne, and you can get some feedback. I'm still developing it out, but it exists.
Awesome.
And I think that is it. I will stop recording, and then if we want to visit, we can. So let me stop sharing and hit stop.